sit down and pen another verse. Music is my therapy.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome back to your Monday night F1 pit stop. I'm, of course, the man waving the checkered flag for our aficionado and Mr. Positivity to lock horns once again in the F1 fan show race that is this show, a half an hour where we bring the F1 news to you and put our spin on it. We give you our opinion. And of course, we try and tackle the big issues as we have done recently with Hamilton Verstappen. And that's, probably still going to rumble on between the aficionado and Mr. Positivity. If you're watching this live, please do get involved in the live chat. As I can see, somebody has just put in a live comment, Mr. Matt Stannard. Thank you very much. Good evening, sir. So follow Matt's wonderful lead by getting involved in the live chat if you're watching us live, or if you're watching something on catch-up. Don't just think the live chat is there for the live shows, because on the catch-up you have comments, so please do leave a comment. If you're watching this on our audio platforms, leave a 5-star review and tell everybody why the Gov is the best host in the world. Thank you. Although you won't actually see the thumbs up, I guess, because you're listening on audio. Never mind, we'll crack on with that. Right, let's go ahead and bring in our actual official host, because he is the man that truly knows what's going on. We call him the aficionado. I think his family call him Steve, because calling him aficionado might be a bit weird, wouldn't it? Do they call you the aficionado?
They don't, no. It's Steve or Stephen if I
in trouble.
Something wrong or I'm in trouble.
Absolutely, son. Look at it. Love it. I did think when I was saying it, I'm pretty sure they're not going to call you that. But they should do, because that is what you are to us. You are aficionado of all things F1. It's another week. We are crazily on the 24th of January, Steve. Can you believe we're already what is officially now 4 Mondays into January?
It's crazy. Mondays? It is crazy. It's weird, it feels like we've only just had the finale to the 2021 season, and in a matter of days, well, a couple of weeks really, we're going to get some cars unveiled and we're going to be all go for 2022.
Absolutely. Matt Stannard, I'd have to call him me Threepwood. Epic game. Is that how you say it? Threepwood?
Threepwood, yeah. It's
Threepwood.
Guy Boris Threepwood, my all-time favourite video game character from Monkey Island series. Also my Twitch name.
Which you do stream. No, what do you stream on Twitch?
I've done a few streams recently. I've done Jurassic World Evolution 2, Curse of Monkey Island, and I have indeed, and I should be doing some this week as it is my week off.
Do you have any dinosaurs escape yet?
Not yet. Give it time. Give it time. I'm still getting used to PC controls. Being primarily a console gamer, I'm still getting used to it.
But... Well, yeah, absolutely. You would do, wouldn't you? Yeah, absolutely. So 4 Mondays in, you do stream. So if you're a gamer, you can catch the aficionado doing aficionado things on those games that he mentioned. It will soon be the season, Steve.
It will, and I will soon lose my Sundays again to watch Formula One, which I can't wait for.
How good is that? I see your boys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got knocked out of the NFL last night.
To be honest, I've not followed it.
No, I know you haven't.
I said I would get into it, but I was like, Buccaneers, Pirates, I'll follow those, but I've
never happened, did it? Good evening, Harry. I hope you are well, Mr. Harry FC. Harry is so good, Steve. He's a whole football club to himself.
That is insane. That's one Mental. Person. That's a hell of a person to be.
Love it. Well done, Harry. Keep up the good fight. Steve, as always, Neill, he is officially late, ladies and gentlemen. He is not here.
Not normal.
Neill is not here. Once he is here, we will bring him in. But in the meantime, I have found a rather lovely article on the F1 website. Link is in the description and in the chat. And we're not going to run through it on the screen. I'm just going to shout out a couple of things. They want to shake up the grid. So the title of the article is 8 Reasons the Pecking Order Could Be Shaken Up in 2022 by Chris Medland. He says, Mr. Thomson, our aficionado, one of the reasons here, first one about a whole new car for teams to get on top of. Is that a reason to shake it up, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you start with that one? Really, it's not like there's been a small regulation change with the odd changes to aerodynamics over the years. This is an entirely new beast. They've got more emphasis on things similar to like ground effect and actual mechanical downforce as opposed to aerodynamic downforce. So this is it, and it is going to be who has mastered this car the best, the quickest.
Absolutely. Number 2 is closer on-track racing.
Mhm.
Talk to us about that, because if you're new to the sport, or like me, just a casual dip in, dip out, you perhaps you don't know about this. What is this whole casual on-track racing about then, Steve? What are they trying to do? Oh, sorry.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Sorry,
Cheers.
sorry.
Thanks for that.
Wrong one. Sorry.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks very much. I'll just go. I've got to start my own. It's fine. On-track racing. Yeah, for the past few years, there's not been a lot of it because it's all to do with the aerodynamic grip and that sort of thing. And when you've got these two cars, we've got one car following another very closely. The car in front disturbs the air for the car behind it. So the car behind has got no grip. He can't go through corners as quickly as the car in front. And obviously with how one-sided, or how sort of it's been one team, hasn't it, really, since the start of the hybrid era with Mercedes. So closer on-track racing could be, well, it's one of the things to look forward to. You know, the cars can actually now follow each other very quickly. They could be more evenly matched, and there could be more teams in the running as well.
That would make it a very interesting and a lot more exciting. You know, which is what we want from the sport, isn't it? Experience and adaptability will be key attributes for drivers. So, I mean, that's already the case, is it not? I mean, look at this year's struggles with the rookies. That's already the case, isn't it?
It's always an important factor. How quickly can you adapt to the car over the coming season? You know, we've seen people like Danny Rick, for example, in 2021. He didn't adapt very quickly to the McLaren for last year. So it is all going to be, I mean, experience, people like Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, they've been around for many years. They've seen a lot of rule changes. They've driven a lot of different Formula One cars. Those kind of guys you would expect to be adapting quite quickly because they've been there and done it, you know. There are other drivers that could struggle.
The rookies this year had Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, Tsunoda. Was there any other rookies other than those three?
No, those three.
And they all struggled. They all really struggled. I mean, Tsunoda had a great start of the campaign.
Yeah.
Other than the bright start, but all three did struggle, didn't they?
Tsunoda, but he came on very quickly, and in that first race he was fighting with Alonso. We thought this kid is going to be a superstar, you know.
I got him on my F1 team. I know, I remember it. He burst onto the scene in a ball of light, and we thought great. So I stuck him in the team at a cheap rate.
That was it.
Fucking never got a point again.
So he was very hit and miss. But then the two Haas cars, you can't really compare Mick and Mazepin. You can only really compare them to each other because they were so far off the pace.
But both did struggle. I mean,
they both struggled.
Mazepin, but
yes,
they did struggle. Right, let's crack on with. We've got Matt Stan. I would love fan boost where you can tweet to give a driver a bit more power.
Very Formula. That's Formula E. They do that, don't they?
That would really.
Yeah, it's.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's great.
It's a good idea in principle. I don't know if it would work with Formula One. I get the feeling there'd be certain drivers that would get it all the time. You forget all these other drivers, bless him. Well, you'd probably be giving it to Mazepin.
You'd be there tweeting about Mazepin last year. The amount of tweets about him would have had unleashable, unrecognizable, uncontrollable energy because every other tweet was. Even the commentators were making jokes about Mazepin. So you know that would have been off the scale. Right, here we go. He is finally here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring in Mr. Positivity. I'll tell you this much, right? I'm cooking him dinner on Saturday night. I'm having him round for a meal. He better bloody turn up much quicker than this. He's 15 minutes late. I tell you, Neil, if you're late for dinner on Saturday, I'm going to be eating
Wake up to the, wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. A Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Mr. Mowles, there he is. How you doing?
Hello, not too bad.
Look at this. He's dining in, ladies and gentlemen, from a budget hotel near you. Where are you in the country, Mr. Neill Mowles?
Bulldog.
Bulldog. Oh, that's near. Is that near Milton Keynes Dons? Is that near?
Yeah, it's north of Stevenage.
north of Stevenage. So what are you up there for? Early for the MK Dons game in a couple of weeks, or are you working?
Definitely not.
No, you're probably going to be working. So glad you could make it. You've been hearing a little
I
bit.
had a bit of the old buffer and blues.
Yeah, well, we don't want the buffer and blues. You've had a little bit about what we're talking about, but we've got the
that
agenda.
Formula E thing.
Go for it.
Definitely not. It's just a popularity contest. It's just stupid that some
get it.
Yeah. Why do some deserve it and others don't?
There you go, Neil. There you go. Look, Neil, you might be able to save yourself some hotel costs. Matt Stannard says only an hour's drive away. You could get yourself a little cheeky lodging with Matt Stannard, Neil, in the future. You know.
Woohoo!
Good to ching ka-ching. Matt Stannard used to be a nice Greek restaurant in Baldock High Street. There you go. Now you're getting restaurant recommendations from Mr. Stannard. Back to the power boost or fan boost on Formula E. If that was, this is off topic. We'll go to the wheel in a minute. If it was brought into the Formula One world, Neil, what one driver would really benefit from it, and what one driver do you feel would completely not benefit from it? So who would be tweeted about the most?
I'd imagine Max would probably get it all the time, and
a good shout. And Hamilton. I mean, they're both tweeted about in a colossal.
They are,
way.
but it's purely about fans voting. So, like you get at the end of the Formula One race, fans voting for it. It's that sort of a thing. So
is
people
it a poll
would just.
Then, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know as such. I've never fully gone into.
Yeah, I think it is a poll. You vote before the race.
Every time I've heard it, it's just ridiculous. The same old people was getting it, and you'd think, why do they deserve a boost over anyone else?
You see, I thought we were talking about is that any time their name was mentioned, it fell into an algorithm. Because Mazepin, for example, last year. So, what driver really, except Mazepin, is not would really not benefit from it? Who wouldn't get any vote share then?
I know, Steve. Who do you think? Who do you think is a little bit neglected and forgot?
I think who would waste it would probably be Bottas. He'd have the option for extra power, and he still wouldn't be able to overtake or defend.
No, Latifi.
Don't you insult my Latifi?
I'm not quite sure what he's doing. Like, what's his reason? Like, is he young and developing? Is he just?
It's a tricky one with him, isn't it? Because he isn't exactly what you call a young. He's by normal standards, he's a young guy, but
not a rookie.
He's not a rookie.
He takes up a seat.
He's not really a young driver anymore. He was hired by Williams. He is a talented guy, but he does.
But surely his clock is ticking. Surely now with the problem of takeover, his clock is firmly ticking.
When Williams was still owned by the Williams family, he brought in a decent amount of money for them. Whereas now they're owned by Dorilton. They've got money. You know, they've hired Albon. They could have gone for the pay driver. They didn't. They've gone for Albon, a very talented young guy.
They can have Mazepin.
They can bloody not.
Who's the one there? Who is the one then out of Latifi and Albon? Is it Latifi because of experience of being within the team, or is it the new guy Albon? Who is their number one driver then?
I don't know if they'd have one. Yeah, obviously in the previous season,
I think Latifi for me will get the nod to a minor nod to start with, purely as you said, because he's been there before. But I think if Albon absolutely hangs him out to dry, it will soon go to him.
Mm. It's a bit of a depressing state, don't it, when you're Latifi's your number one driver?
It's only because he's the one who knows about the team right now. He's the one who's done the racing for the team. But I can see, as much as I like Latifi, I can see Albon outpacing him and quickly sort of becoming the head Williams driver.
Would you put
Albon
Latifi,
is very highly rated?
Like, because if you look at the ones, this is well off topic. I do apologise, but I'm in a flow. I'm in a flow here. If you look at the ones for each team, now Mick Schumacher, I would put it as a one ahead of Mazepin. I presume both of you agree with that. So if you look at the ones, is Latifi the worst one? Like, out of the list of ones, if you're comparing them each one, would you put Latifi at the bottom of any league table, Neil? Or is there somebody else who's classed as a one for their team that actually is probably on par, or if not worse than Nicholas Latifi?
I'd say he probably is the worst number one as such, but I think Williams believe he's progressed from last season or the season before, shall I say?
He showed improvement.
I think they're just expecting him to, keep pressing on and improving. So
yeah, I mean, it's not quite Team Haas, is it? Their drivers people criticize Mazepin, but I wouldn't. There's not much between him and Mick Schumacher, Steve.
No,
more than he wants, but they are quite close in the grand scheme of things.
Mick Schumacher didn't really, for me, take strides last year to separate himself a tremendous amount.
First season, Schumacher's always finding his feet. Second season, he always pushes on.
Same can be said for Mazepin, though.
Mazepin never seems to push on. Schumacher has always improved. Schumacher struggled in his first season in Formula 2, and then he won it last year. 2020. I forget what year we're in now.
Yeah.
So he won it. He won his final season in Formula 2. So he did push on, and he got that car, which was a bag of shite. He got that into Q2. He got it into Q2, which, to be fair, when you're battling for 19th and 20th,
it's pretty good.
That's decent stuff. The 1 lap pace is definitely there, but that Haas car just didn't have race pace.
Absolutely.
The thing that gets me is Ferrari have that young driver that won the F2 championship, and he hasn't even got a race seat.
Oh, he should. Oscar Piastri, he should be in the Alfa Romeo seat ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. Nothing against Guan Yu Zhou. He's a good driver, but Piastri is better.
We had a comment in the chat, actually, Harry FC. Can't wait to see Guan Yu Zhou. So people are excited about it. People want to see it. So
he's an exciting prospect. He is the first ever Chinese Formula 1 driver. He does bring a fair amount of money to the team with him, but he is a talented kid.
Are we driving in China next year by any chance?
We should be. Right. That is one of the one on the topic we've got to talk about.
Is the venues,
one of the returning venues, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing is, though, as good as he could be, it is purely down to getting the Chinese market involved.
The cynic in you would definitely say that, I think.
They've actually admitted it.
Have they?
Yeah, it's
Alfa Romeo
as much as F1 want America to, embrace them, they want China to do the same. They're the 2 biggest markets, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're huge. Yeah, you'd be a sort of a fool not to, I guess. I'll take Ferrari off the agenda because I think, as you just mentioned them, we should just jump straight in with them as the first topic. Can Ferrari really challenge for the title? I feel like we've had this conversation, this time last year, or certainly it was, can they improve? Do you think they can challenge for a title, Neill? Do you think Ferrari have it within them, driver-wise? And because car-wise, it's still unknown, isn't it? So it's purely got to be down to the driver ability at this stage, right?
Yeah, well, as a few videos I've heard recently, the Ferrari had extra wind tunnel time. They're supposed to have done some good progression for the next season's car. They seem quite talkative about their prospects, and they're supposed to have developed the engine because this is the final cut-off point. After this start of this season, they can't develop the engine anymore. Till 2025, something like that.
Oh wow! So you're stuck with it for a big chunk of time then.
Yeah, but they've decided to not go for the split turbo route, the same as everyone else. But they've got other things that improve combustion, so they're throwing all their pennies into that bag.
What does the extra wind tunnel time do for them? What does that mean? Break that down for me.
Steve, do you want to explain, or the whole?
Keeping it simple, it's all about making the car as slippery as possible, isn't it? Really, the more time you spend in the wind tunnel with the car, they'll have a little scale model in the wind tunnel as well, obviously as the full car, and you can then see the airflow
with
going
driver
over it.
Or not.
They'll probably, I don't know actually. I imagine they'd have something sitting in the car to replicate a driver's helmet
or weight.
Or weight. But it's sorry, Karen.
The newer wind tunnels are you getting on for 3 or like say 75% of the car? Because they used to go for 50% half-size cars, but then McLaren got in trouble where they an issue that because it's half the size, if your measurements are off slightly, you end up with double the problem when it's up to full size.
Yeah.
So they try and get it as close to full size as possible, so it's more accurate. But they done a scale of, depending on how you do in the constructors, for 6 months, there's a leaderboard. So if you're the worst team, you get more wind tunnel time. And obviously this season, they've pushed all their time on to developing ideas for the new car.
Okay. Do they get allotted wind time then? How does it work?
Yeah, this was the first season it happened.
Right. Okay.
So Red Bull and Mercedes have the least.
Why is that?
Because they're the highest up.
Right. Oh, I see. So
obviously Mercedes will have the least because they're top, but Red Bull are up there. So yeah.
So in a way, it works a little bit like the NFL draft in the sense of the better you are, the further down the chain.
Yeah, you've got to be more efficient with your tunnel time.
With your time. With you. Right, onto the wheel. I will take that out, as you will see here, leaving us four topics with about 6 minutes left to play. So let's just see what we got.
You can see that I'm a needy kind of guy. Would you take my love and then you push me to...
I do not choose this music for those wondering at home. Who will have the upper hand? I got no idea. It was a random rock tune, apparently. Was it rock music, Steve? Would you class that as rock?
I'd say it's rock, classic rock.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Who will have the upper hand at Mercedes early on? Steve, take that one for us. Who will have the upper hand at Mercedes?
It depends if the other man's going to be there.
Oh, yeah. If it's Lewis and George, it'll be Lewis. If it's George and whoever else, who knows? No, I think it will be Lewis. Lewis is going to be hungry when he comes back. There's always a little part of my brain that's thinking, is he going to be as dedicated and is he going to be as driven?
He will be this year after being
George. Well, that's it. I mean, George is going to push him further than Bottas has ever pushed him. So I think it's going to come down really. Yeah, if you can get the upper hand at Mercedes in the first couple of races, it could swing in your favour throughout the season. You know, we've had teams obviously put favoritism on one driver, get my words out, whoever's doing the best. So I think it's going to be really close between George and Lewis, but I think it will just be Lewis at the start. George is going to grow into it.
George is definitely Toto Wolff's new toy to play with, isn't it, Neill? It's definitely going to enjoy.
He's basically the young man in the team. He'll be the one that will take him for the future. So he's pretty much come out, Russell has, and he's said that Bottas was shown a lot of loyalty and he hopes that the same is put onto him and so he can try and progress. He's not expecting to come flying out of the traps. He's slow and steady and he can become the rounded driver he wants to be.
Harry will say Lewis will be back because that's both drivers have to be at the launch at Silverstone as both of them need to speak to the driver.
Yeah, there's question mark. No, but apparently the new FIA guy has tried to contact him and not heard anything back. There's question marks over what's going to happen for the fact that him and Toto didn't turn up for the Gala Awards. So there's going to be some punishment handed out for that. Certain people want Massey removed from the position. How true it is, apparently Massey's going to give Lewis a penalty if he keeps his job. That sounds a little bit far-fetched, but I don't know. It was just a headline, so I don't know what the scenario will be. But then the FIA have delayed, and they're not investigating or showing any results until the drivers are going to finish testing. So they're making Lewis basically come back before they'll give any information over what changes are making or are happening or anything. So they're twisting his arm, really. They're making him play his cards.
It sort of makes me feel like F1's trying to twist Lewis's arm and Lewis is trying to twist F1's arm and Mercedes are trying to twist everyone's arm. It feels a bit school, playgrounds.
They'll work it out.
I'm sure they'll work it out, but it's embarrassing for the sport of Formula One.
Well, this is it. And of course, I've just done the wheel and it says looking ahead to the new Miami GP Grand Prix. So, of course, you say it's embarrassing at the same time as trying to enter new markets and expand the growth of the sport. So, and obviously, Americans are very big on their sports being 100% fair, parity. Worse gets better, better gets worse or stays the same. This isn't a great look as they try and enter an American market. But what can we expect?
Something we've always had stupid incidents we've had with the Indianapolis race that was a farce. I wonder if we've got any American viewers, what their whole opinion on the whole FIA situation and going into where the sport is heading, because as amazing as this next season coming up it should be, I just got this whole cloud of how, the end of last season, just are we going to get more of that rubbish?
I think the FIA, would have learned from their mistakes from 2021. I know the main thing is try, because F1 has never really broken America, has it? They've had American world champions. We've had multiple races in America over the years. We've been going to Austin now for, I think this will be its 10th season. But how it ended previously with that 6-car race at Indy, that was just embarrassing. And F1 fans have never forgotten it, especially ones in America. So they want to have something as smooth as possible. They want the race. They want to see fairness, and we all do. We want to see fairness.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
We want to see clarity.
It has been better of late, as there's the actual race of Americas in Texas, isn't there? It's been going quite well there of the last few years.
Great circuit. It is a great circuit as well. It's put on some really entertaining races. It was Lewis Hamilton country, and then Verstappen won it. But that's the thing, when Lewis, we know what sort of reception he gets because he is very big and very popular in America as well. So.
Yeah, that's the Miami one. The last topic is favourites returning. I'll really give it its full name. Some favourite venues returning. So, what's our favourites that are returning then, guys? What's this one all about? Talk to me, Steve. Kick us off with this.
For me personally, it's the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. That is one of my favourite Formula One circuits. We haven't had it since 2019. So Latifi, unfortunately for him, still hasn't had a home Grand Prix. It's been cancelled.
This year.
Hopefully. I mean, they always say right now it's subject to change because of, things are starting to ease. So hopefully we're getting back to the normality. But yeah, for me, it's the Canadian Grand Prix. I cannot wait to see that one again because it does put on some great races.
Fingers crossed that one stays on the calendar. Neill, how about yourself?
It doesn't always produce great racing, but I enjoy seeing a bit of the old Melbourne Grand Prix. So I hope we actually have a race in Australia this season.
The atmosphere there is awesome, isn't it? It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's a new circuit, altered circuit, so it could improve racing.
Hopefully, with the way with things, who knows where they'll be, but a full schedule or fuller schedule is what we all ultimately want to see, isn't it? Back to normal in inverted brackets. Harry, I can't wait to see what the Miami track looks like and how the race will be planned out. So, any whispers on that one? Go on, Neill.
I can't think what it looks like. It will be down to Steve if he knows.
I don't, to be honest. No, I haven't. No, I don't know if they've released the track plan. I'm sure they have somewhere, but sort of maybe computer rendered images. But I haven't seen anything. But also returning this season, Shanghai and China, just in time. You've got the Chinese driver. It does put on some good races every now and then. It's been obviously cancelled the past couple of years.
Oh, was that the one that Lewis put it into the gravel in the pit lane?
Yeah, 2007. He could have won the championship in his first year in Formula One. That would have been an achievement. And stuffed it in the gravel.
You got Alonso to thank for that as well.
Yeah. Well, McLaren left him out far too late, didn't they, on those tyres?
Metal Jace, despite being a Lewis fan, a part of me wants him not to race in 2022 due to the FIA chaos. It'll be an interesting one as we progress. We're certainly getting plenty to talk about in this off season, so we'll keep an eye on it. We'll bring you what we think of it when or if it ever happens. But we're half an hour in. That's been the F1 pit stop. Steve, anything else before we sort of round it up?
No, that's it. It's been a sort of relatively quiet week, really, in terms of F1 news. We've had no car launches announced since our last show. No, I'll keep my eye out, but hopefully this coming week we'll get something, either car launches or something from Lewis or the FIA. I don't know.
Neil, anything from yourself?
When we were talking about Ferrari and how well we think they're going to do, I think on a whole, are we going to sort of try and put our money where our mouth is and make a guess on who we think's going to sort of be better and worse?
Go for it.
Because at this moment, we have absolutely no idea. We've not seen anything, and Newey has come out and said that this is the single biggest rule change in was it? Well, several years now. So,
but maybe next week's show, week after, whatever, is basically you break down every team. So you've got 2 drivers per team. Just vote or say who we think is going to be the top driver in that team, because I reckon there are going to be some surprises this year.
All right, I like that. Break down every team, vote on the 2 drivers. I've got that. I like that as a little show idea. Yeah. Interested in that one, Neil?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go, people. You've seen it live. That's how the F1 team work. But we're done. Matt's done. I said I won't stick 2 fingers up at them. And Metal Jace agrees. Right. So until this time, not this time next week, because this time next week we'll be finishing. But until 7:15, Steve, lead us out, my man.
Yeah, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for commenting and getting involved. It's always great to see. We always love to see it as well. So we will see you 7:15 after. Hopefully, we'll have some good news this week, or some more news than what we've had the previous week. So
at the very least, we'll vote on some drivers.
There you go. So thanks for that, and we'll see you then. Cheers.
Yeah, and we'll see you all tomorrow, us 3, right? Because we're doing the AFC Wimbledon game.
Got Wimbledon.
Yep,
absolutely. The Wombles of Wimbledon.